That is that of the 3/4 which Indonesia exports to India, a huge amount, maybe 20% or a little more, is just one commodity, and that is CPO. That's crude palm oil. Crude palm oil. So we find that a lot of our discussion and debate tends to center on CPO. That one commodity, which after a certain point of, after certain figures are reached, it begins to conflict directly with the Indian farming interests, because we grow it too in India, you see. So this is where we need a little more give and take, a little more understanding, and perhaps an effort by Indonesian traders to try and enlarge that basket, to vary it, to try and bring in other items into the basket, to explore the Indian middle class market, which is a growing market,
very big market,
which is a market into which any country, many countries are now vying to enter that market, and which above all is a market where all kinds of new products are excitedly welcomed, because our country has been closed for so many years, for decades. It's only now that the markets are opening to the Indian middle class, the world markets, and the world commodities are coming in. So I think that this is an exciting time to trade with India, and the Indonesians should not hesitate from exploring the opportunities in India, widening the basket and expanding it. And finally, of course, I would like to say that on the level of rules, regulations, maybe a certain more transparency in the legal system.
Yeah.
A little more predictability of the legal system, the taxation laws, the investment laws. I think that is where, if one sees a better climate, the Indians are just waiting to come to Indonesia, but they are waiting and watching for some of these changes to happen, some improvements in the investment climate as well.
What is the Indian Embassy doing? What proactive steps are being taken by the Indian Embassy to promote Indian traders here in Indonesia? If there are any few such activities you could share with us.
We first of all, whenever Indian traders make inquiries, we respond to them. When they come to us, as sometimes they do in delegations or singly, we arrange meetings for them. We set up conference facilities for them. We set up a buyer-seller meet for them. So that is our normal, that's the normal regular work of any diplomatic mission. The commercial sections are there for just that purpose. And we bring out a publication. We have a handbook on India, Indonesia, doing business in Indonesia. So that is to give our people information. We put people in touch with such persons that they may be looking for here, agents that they may want, somebody to help them to explore a market. We do that because we are, after all, based here. We have a certain database of information on individuals and so on. And the usual thing, trade disputes and things like that. We have a consulate in Medan, a very old one. So the island of Sumatra and on the 9 regions in Sumatra are taken care of by the
Medan
consulate. And we here in the embassy take care of the rest of the country, any inquiries relating to that.
The Indian Embassy also has the Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Culture and Art. Means it's one of the few embassies which has a cultural center.
That's true, yes.
So what are the different activities there, and what is the big purpose behind such a center here?
You see, the India-Indonesian cultural relations go back such a long way, actually into the very dim past of history,
thousands of
and
years.
Mythology.
Yes.
And it is very important that India should remember, should be aware of, and should actually revive those links that have kept us in this country, or a part of the cultural history of this country.
Yes.
So this was the reason. Of course, It's a very big country, as I started by saying, a very important country of great strategic importance to us, a country with huge human and natural resources. So with
yes.
with all that, and the cultural dimension, which has been the great link between India and Indonesia over thousands of years, it was a very natural country for India to establish a cultural center. We have them in quite a few, about a dozen other countries.
I see.
And Indonesia was certainly one of those countries which was considered to be important enough for us to have a cultural center. We have in the cultural center, we have facilities for teaching dance and tabla, that's the percussion instrument, and yoga. So that's part of the what is offered at the cultural center. Then the same teachers also travel to different places.
In Indonesia.
If they are invited, say by a university for a lecture demonstration or a workshop, they are always available. So they can be invited to the different universities in Indonesia to come and give a lecture demonstration about Indian dance or about Indian music. That can be done as well. The director of the cultural center is also a man of erudition and learning. He is a writer himself, and Mr. Datta, and he can be invited to talk about his books, or to organize different ways, the puppet festival, for example, or any other cultural event, the writers workshop, the one that happened in Ubud. There's so many events, that I confess, but all the same, there were some features of French life. There were some French friends, and so it was a nice, happy landing for them back from France.
France, yes. Must have been a very idyllic time for you as well, after being so busy doing all your assignments.
That's true. This break, it gave me a break, yes.
As a diplomat, as a career diplomat over these so many years, has there been an instance where you had to think of something totally out of the box or come up with a solution to any major issue facing you?
Well, let me tell you, Poonam, I'm in the role that I have as a diplomat, and as all diplomats do, we are always thinking out of the box, because we don't really have a box, you know. A diplomat is expected to improve relations between two countries, and how one does that, what are the areas to which you give priority. Well, so much of it is circumstantial, a lot of it you probably have not much control over, but to the extent that you do, you have to fashion your own priorities, you have to take your own.
That's true. Yes.
So in that sense, I would say there's very little box thinking in a diplomat's life. So that having been said, I'm not sure if I can immediately recall any instance of that kind.
Because
a eureka moment or something.
So you've been in that kind of a state throughout.
And anyway, a diplomat's life is always, or her contributions are always incremental. We never do expect the great break, or something to happen that will suddenly shake the relations or change. Not at all. I think, in fact, if it doesn't happen, it's better that way. One expects and hopes that there will be incremental improvements,
right,
and that the state of relations when I leave a post as ambassador would be marginally better than it was when I joined it, and I think that's about the best one can hope for.
Thank you so much